Mm-hmm.
I was like, it kind of reminds me of cheese that you would see in a cartoon.
Well, there's no cheese in there, miss.
Well, I thought it was made of it.
There's no cheese in there. Welcome to the channel, people. If you're new here, I'm Brandy, and we're jumping right into this video today. When I spend over 2 months looking for an item at the Dollar Tree, I order it. Since I had so many items to paint in this video, I decided to use my typical bulk staining painting technique, and it also gets in the crevices really nice. You're able to just get it all quickly laid out, let it dry, and bam, you're done. About 2 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of paint, stir it all up, and you're golden. It works magnificent. I love it, but do not do this for these people. Do not do it. I'm here to tell you, you will experience a little bit of tanness with these. So I will show that to you later on in the video. Even though I love this idea, as you see me do it here, and I do it to all of them, don't do it to yourself. When you're creating this, you want to make sure that all these pieces are touching that center point, whether you're raising your center or you're keeping it level. I am also using the Gorilla Glue and hot glue for this to make sure that none of these pieces move once I get them on there. You're going to also want to let your first 2 pieces dry for about 30 minutes just to make sure that once you start putting it together, you don't have mishaps. I recommend highly doing this piece by piece and start with the opposite of the one you started with. Mark it and then put your glue on there. If you do not do this, I started off camera. I accidentally missed a spot and measured it in the wrong way because I wasn't doing it piece for piece and had to pop one of these bad boys out of there. But I fixed it, as you can see. Learn from my mistakes, people. Don't do that. Do it one at a time, and it will turn out like this. They will all touch, I promise. So make sure that happens. Here, I used some Waverly chalk paint to go over because I noticed the tanness really bad. It doesn't show up as good as I would like it to because I don't have magnificent camera equipment. I'm using my phone here, people. We're using our phone. But I wanted to show you, if you got some gesso or you have some stain blocker spray paint, that's great. I was not going back over it, so I thought we're going to put a Band-Aid on this and add the stencil. That's right, the stencil was not meant to be on there originally. That's right, it is an added accent to hide some of the flaws. So it turned out amazing anyway. I was so happy with the way that this looked, and I love using stencils on everything if you're not familiar with me. I finished it off with some satin Mod Podge. I do really like how the shininess came through on this. What do you think? This one also, I end up going over later. You will see me paint this different. But to start, you're going to need 2 different drill bits, any size, really whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you fuzzy inside. I'm using a particularly large one and then a noticeably or smaller one. I never have the measurements. Don't hate me, people. Listen, I'm terrible at fractions, so I can't help you with these. Just eyeball it and use one here. That's really all I'm doing. Just whatever I think looks good. And they go through this material fairly easy. This is what it looked like with just the large holes, and you could leave it just like this if you want to. Gotta clean up. Gotta clean up. Have you seen my mushroom? My mushroom. I love that mushroom. And here's me going at it with the smaller drill bit. I had no flow for these. I was just drilling holes there. I wasn't like 2 here, 1 here, 3 here, 4 here. I just was putting holes in it. It was messy inside, so you're going to need to sand that out. So I just wrapped a little piece around my finger and went outside and, you know, blah, 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 blah. We sanded it. We sanded it out. And then I took this Waverly chalk paint Nimbus Painted it all up. I love it. Added some lights and put my floral in there, and this one is all done. For this project, you can use as many of the boxes as you want to get your tiered effect. I start with 4, I end up only using 3, and decide it would probably be best for me to just get this on here before we start gluing the pieces together. And then to get that tiered effect, I'm going to need to cut these boxes in half or a quarter, however you're going to tier it, because the more you tier it, the more pieces you're going to need for it to look like one cohesive unit. I just did one and then picked out which box I didn't care for and used a Gorilla Glue gel and tried using my hot glue gun, but my hot glue gun was not having it because I forgot to plug that battery in. Crafter's mistake. Make sure your stuff is charged, people. Make sure your stuff is charged. Anyhow, I let that dry about 20 minutes and then started attaching the other pieces. As you can see here, I end up only going with the third one. Now, another recommendation that I would do with this, if you plan on doing several tiers, you could paint these, and with your different tiers, say there's 5 or 6, you can add some joint compound in between the creasing and then paint it white, paint it blue, whatever color you want, but you won't see that little crease that I have in the back. I didn't think it was a big deal because mine's going to be hidden up against the wall. Added some of these little black rocks from Dollar Tree, and that was it.
I was like, it kind of reminds me of cheese that you would see in the cartoon.
Well, there's no cheese in there, miss.
Well, I thought it was made of it.
There's no cheese in there. People would think I am not feeding my children around here when they're walking around looking at my projects like it's dinner time. She thought you just didn't see her. She was looking at it like it was a piece of Swiss cheese that I had stuffed flowers in. I'm like, girl, go get a snack. Back up on my stuff. Anyhow, for this project, I used some washi tape. You can use painter's tape, whatever makes you fuzzy inside. And then took my microfiber cloth and went carefully over the piece, making sure that once I got around that washi tape, it wasn't very heavy, so it didn't bleed through. So if you're going to stain, just be mindful with that. Painting, you should be fine. I did make a little mistake here, so I'm just taking a little piece of washi tape and going back over it to fix the space, and wanted this to really look finished. So I took some satin Mod Podge and went over the entire piece to bring those wood colors out, and love the simplicity of this piece. To start this project, you're going to need some clay. I love messing with clay and doing different things with clay. You're going to make sure you keep this in a nice sealed container because it'll get crusty on you, or a bag like I have. Next, you're going to take whatever little cutouts you have. These are little fondant ones I ordered off Amazon. I can link them down below for you. Flatten out your clay, people. Just flatten it out. Use whatever means necessary. I'm just using this little glass thing I got from Dollar Tree, and then punching my holes in it. Now, a good thing to know is if you don't get a very clean cut, it can have little frayed bits that are like pieces of hair around the side. So it's a good idea to flip it over like this and kind of, just kind of push it down before you completely pop it out. And hopefully it looks something like this when you're done. This DIY might not be for everyone. I have really like a eclectic artsy side that I don't get to tap into very often, and wanted to just create a unique piece for my bedroom, just a little decor accent. If you're not familiar with me, I've mentioned this before, my bedroom is in like a teal, black, and white, and really just wanted to do something different in there. So I'm using some random Dollar Tree supplies, some stickers and things like that. I've cut pieces off. This is a little acorn. I cut half the back off and then started sticking all this down with hot glue and started painting over it so it was all the same color. To create this look, it took me about 4 hours of painting. So you're not going to see all of that here. You're going to see me speed this as quick as I can to give you guys an idea how to create it on your own. If that's something you're interested in, seeing me do a video of just like one DIY where I go through this more in grave detail, comment down below. I can do that as like a bonus video, but I'm not doing that here. For the blending process, I started with a vanilla paint and then started adding these metallics in. I start with the seashell, and the white I add at the very end when I'm completely happy with all the details of the different color paints that I'm using. I take some browns and some more of the vanilla and mix it together, creating different varied looks of brown tones throughout the entire process. I even go in with some black paint at the very end right before I add the white, so there are little pops in the flowers, and add some gemstones in the center of the smaller flowers. And again, this look is probably not for everyone, but I just had to share and do something that was really unique to me and something I really enjoyed just to share with you all for additional inspiration. As always, people, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, before you go, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos with me. It really helps me grow. Until next time, bye!